Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to day 4, I believe. This is the day 4. This is Thursday, day 4 of the coronavirus chaos. And, as if any of you have been following my coronavirus posts, I am a marriage and family therapist and a mental health counselor trained to counsel families, couples, and individuals. And if you're wondering why am I doing all these lives about the coronavirus and, kind of doing some news reporting along in these videos, it's because as a therapist, I'm really looking to reduce everybody's anxiety. Everybody's anxious. When you watch the news media on television, you're seeing doom and gloom and your heart rate's going up and you're getting anxious and you're reacting to everything. So I thought this could be a nice respite from all that. Just a place where calm heads prevail. We talk about how we're feeling, what's going on, and then all my viewers have the option to write me a question on the screen if they want in real time and get a real answer. And I'm going to keep doing this every day. A lot of people don't want to spend money to come into therapy right now. Some people do. But if you don't or you can't afford it right now, I want this to be sort of like a free therapeutic 30 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever we do together today, to just, give you a chance to ask some mental health questions, and share your stories with us. And we are, my practice this is where we are today. We're in Murraysville, Pennsylvania, and that's where I practice, which is really in the greater Pittsburgh area for those of you who don't live in Pittsburgh. And we're just here kind of talking about what's the latest information and how are you guys doing? That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear how everyone's doing out there. So what we've been talking about every day this week is we have a couple things that are making us anxious. The most obvious is the abrupt change that, life was normal and then very quickly it wasn't normal anymore. And this is probably the first time, I know it is in my lifetime and probably in most of yours, where there's actually been these significant closures and, closings of restaurants and anywhere that you congregate, even insofar as religious organizations. So gyms are closed, restaurants. And so all of a sudden we can't go out for entertainment. We're stuck in the house and we're sort of self-quarantined. We're being asked to do that by the government. And we have not a lot of places to go, and when the weather's not great, which it rarely is in Pittsburgh, it really feels stuck. So, it's not easy. I've had, emails from people in New York City who are trapped in these little tiny apartments and they can't go anywhere. So we're anxious about the change. We're anxious about this virus, and we want to understand it. We want to learn about it. We want to know how we can protect ourselves against it. But when we're scared, our thoughts can run away from us. And so a lot of us are very anxious. Our kids are getting anxious. We're getting irritable. We don't know what to do with the anxiety over what if we get this. And then the third thing we're anxious about is financial stress. The markets are crashing. Businesses are closed. Most small businesses can't operate without income for very long. And how are we going to survive all of the different changes? And these are the things that I'm discussing with all my clients right now. Everybody from, I have clients who are physicians, I have clients who are stay-at-home moms, I have clients who are in construction, you name it. And everyone's got sort of a different form of stress for different reasons. So I want to hear about what's going on. To everyone who's asked me to fix my audio, I have good news today, because my nephew is here helping me produce today, and he knows how to do professional sound for like real people, like real celebrities and rock stars and all kinds of stuff like that. So he's actually here with me today, and he brought me this gorgeous microphone, and hopefully the sound is a little bit better. So thank you, Zach, for helping your aunt out today. And he's going to be with me a lot more lately, because everyone's got some time on their hands right now. So we're getting together as a family, and we're making it happen. So Zach, have we gotten any questions coming out yet? Any comments?
I haven't gotten any questions yet. But,
any comments?
One person definitely noticed the audio quality improvement.
Oh my God, yay. Okay, good.
Yeah, that was our first comment, was someone said the audio is incredible.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. Okay, so people are noticing. All right, so let's talk about, Zach and I were just watching Trump's press conference. And he just had one this morning at 11. I don't know if any of you saw it. And God bless him. I mean, he's fighting. You know, he's fighting for this country. He did finally pass legislation, I believe it was last night or this morning, that, as we understand it, couple pieces of good news came out of it. There's going to be some financial relief sent to individuals. Now, some people are going to get a $2,000 check, and some people, I believe, are going to get a $1,000 check. That's all I know. I don't know yet. I don't think anyone in the news media knows yet if this is going to be per family, per person. You know, how do they decide who gets $2,000, who gets $1,000? You know, those details, they're probably in the bill somewhere, but I personally haven't understood yet how that's going to work, but we'll see what happens. But that could definitely help. You know, I mean, I think that's, you know, $1,000 is $1,000. I mean, that can really, you know, that could be a mortgage payment, a rent payment, a car payment, plus some utilities. I mean, there's a lot you can do with $1,000 and $2,000, even better. So let's see what happens with that. In that bill, there is 30 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Was it billion or million? I don't know. I think it was billion. $30 billion to small business relief. And that is extremely significant. And again, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but what I think is going to happen is that money will be given to our banking systems, and then the banking systems will be able to then give out loans to small businesses so they can meet payroll. And according to President Trump, that's going to happen like immediately, you know, very quickly. So, you know, how long that's actually going to take or what's going to actually happen, you know, we don't know. So that was, you know, another piece of good news. I think the most exciting piece of news that came out of that press conference was the fact that there's a potential, there's two potential antibiotics that are, you know, pretty, you know, accessible in the U.S. Azithromycin, and the other one is something like chloroquine or hydrochloroquine. I'm not saying it right, but they're readily available in the United States, and you know, they seem to be doing a really good job together to fight the virus if you were to get it. Numbers in China are, you know, significantly dropped. So that's good news because, you know, the more that this is passing, you know, the more, you know, I think we, in a way, maybe got lucky that we were one of the latter countries to have to deal with this. So we had the benefits of looking at what other countries did and how they were able to deal with this. And so we could kind of learn from them. So that was really, really very lucky. Zach, do you have the CDC up on the screen by any chance? Yeah. What are our latest numbers in the United States? How many confirmed cases of the coronavirus 19 are there right now?
Let's see, total for the United States.
I think it was like 10,000.
Cases in the United States.
So while Zach's checking that out, I believe it's a little over 10,000, but we were looking at Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, there's only, I think, 133 confirmed cases. So those of us who live here in Pennsylvania, we're really lucky because that's a pretty low number considering our population is 12.7 million. So I was, you know, I'm never...
sorry, the total cases was 10,442.
10,442 confirmed cases right now. So, you know, in the United States. So, you know, and it seems like people are recovering really, really, really well. So, I think the really good news today that should help calm our nerves a little bit is that it seems like there's, a medication cocktail that could potentially really work well for us. We seem to be getting really well prepared. Trump also announced that we can get, even if we're uninsured, we can get free testing for the coronavirus. I think today those pop-up testing centers are probably a little bit crazy, but maybe in a few days, whenever we can, we'll get there and find out. So I think things are really rolling. I think that, so quickly it seems like, the U.S. has jumped on this. We're doing better. And, we're making the best of it. So, moving from the news portion, and let's get back to, how are we living? What's going on with everybody out there? Let us know. Tell us what you're experiencing. If you, want to remain anonymous, you can, somehow convey that and maybe to me in Messenger, and then, Zach can make sure he doesn't say your name. But if you're writing on the screen, then it's, everybody can see it. But I would love to just hear some of your stories, some of your cases, and see what's going on. Does anyone know anybody yet in Pennsylvania who's had the virus, or anyone anywhere? If so, please let me know, because I want to hear about how they're handling it, how you're handling it, and what's going on and how you're feeling. Anxiety is a big piece of this. And, some of the ways that therapists can help you deal with anxiety are giving you kind of some tips on, when the anxiety starts, how to calm yourself down. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, right now. So the first and most basic thing that you're already probably hearing on the news is to make sure that you're active. Just a little bit of light exercise, just walking around the block a couple times, taking a good walk, doing some push-ups and sit-ups, something to get your heart rate going. It's really good for your immune system, but it's really good for anxiety, because when your heart rate's up and you're exercising, then you are producing serotonin. And serotonin is your endorphins, which part of that is serotonin. And serotonin is something that makes you feel good. It's a neurotransmitter that your brain produces to feel happy, to feel calm, not to feel anxious. So I can't stress enough how any kind of light exercise is good. I mean, dance around your house if you have to, anything, just to get moving. Stay in contact with friends and family, because, when people isolate too much, then they tend to get very depressed, because we are social beings and we need social interaction and social contact. And right now we're being told to stay home, not to go out, not to go to any bars and restaurants. We can't go to any bars and restaurants because everything's closed. So it's really hard to get that social interaction. So, call your friends and family. Use this time to get work finished that's been, maybe building up around the house. Things to keep you busy. When anxiety comes on, as I've sort of been talking about the past couple days, when anxiety comes along, the first thing that changes is your heart rate and your breathing. So if you feel like you're about to get a panic attack, make sure you stop and immediately regulate your breathing, okay? And what I do with my clients is 4 4s. So that's breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds. So 4 4s. And if you do that 4 times, that will start to regulate your breathing and regulate your heart rate. And as soon as your heart rate starts to go down and your breathing regulates, your anxiety will begin to dissipate. So mark that down somewhere, 4 4s. Got a question. Okay, Zach, hit me.
From Bella Schaefer. I tried meditating, but found my mind going right back to the virus and what's happening. How do I stop that from happening?
Oh, boy. Okay, that's a good question. Well, I think that meditation, I'm not an expert on meditation, but I know, some people are really serious about it. They do it really well. But a lot of people have that same complaint that when they go to meditate, their mind's zinging all over the place. And the only meditation that I've ever really done has been like at the end of a yoga class, or many years ago, I used to go into YouTube, and I really like a guy named Deepak Chopra, and he has some guided meditations on YouTube that are maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes long. And the thing that's great about the guided meditations is even though you're in silence, like someone else is talking to you and guiding you through it. And I found that really helpful rather than just sitting, with my eyes closed, silent somewhere. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that I enjoyed. So maybe you could try that. But I know that what I've read about meditation is that if you're meditating and your mind is veering off, then you're the type of person that needs to keep doing it, and that you keep on trying. And, I think sometimes if we think there's no end to it, like, for example, let's say you just decide you're going to sit down and meditate. Then it's kind of like, well, how long am I supposed to do this for? Because we're used to working on a time frame. Maybe set an alarm on your phone for 10 minutes, and just so it's only 10 minutes. They have to do this, and then it might feel less stressful, and maybe your mind will veer off less. But I think that we're all thinking about this virus constantly, and I find that when we're around other people, it really takes our mind off. So if you can connect with other people, I don't know if, some people are just completely quarantining themselves. Some people are just hanging around, immediate family. So I don't know your situation, but spending time with other people helps a lot. I know I'm thinking about it a lot too. And when I'm with my, my significant other and my nephew and my friends that I can be around right now, it really, really is helpful. So that would be, the best advice I could give you about that. So thank you for your question. I really appreciate that. So I don't know, Zach, do you meditate?
I have tried it before.
And?
So what worked for me, and I'm definitely the type of person who would like try it a couple times and be like, this isn't working.
Okay.
The guided meditations help, and I'm sure there's all different kinds of like methodology, but
yeah,
what I tried was one where, there was a voice kind of telling me how it's done, and in this sense, it was like, I sat there, you sit in like any position that makes you comfortable, and it'll be like for a certain amount of time. You can set an alarm, and you close your eyes, you breathe in, you're focusing on your breathing, like deep breaths, I think in through the mouth and out through the nose.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And the focus in your mind should be only on like bodily sensations.
Okay.
And just kind of like how you can let those fly by, and like, resisting the urge to kind of like fidget around, because I am like a fidgety.
Yeah, you are a little
person,
fidgety. Okay.
But it did kind of help in that regard to just kind of like, it's good at kind of teaching you how to let thoughts and feelings pass.
That's right.
That's
exactly
idea.
Right. You're exactly right, because I remember when I would do Deepak's meditation, he would say like exactly what you're saying, like whatever you hear, let the sound, like whatever you hear outside, let it go. Whatever if you hear a horn honking or your dog barking or something like that, just let it go. Now, I know a lot of times if I've tried to meditate at home, my dogs are all over me, and that kind of ruins it because they don't get it and they're like jumping on me, and it's really cute. But yeah, I mean, I think just learning to let things go, and I think with anxiety that we're all living in right now, we really have to live day by day. And I think that what meditation tries to teach you is to be in the moment and to be present, and to practice getting your mind focused on right in this moment instead of what might happen tomorrow or the next day. So if you focus like right on this moment right now, you are watching this video, you're home, you're fine, you're wherever you are, maybe you're in work, maybe you're home, I don't know where you are, but you are okay. If you have the capacity to watch this video, you're okay. In this moment, I'm really enjoying just being able to talk to people and give them a little bit of therapeutic relief. And that's all I'm focused on right now. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know, and I don't want to think about that, because when we're in crisis, anxiety always has us thinking in the what if this happens, what if that happens, when this happens. All of those phrases are very indicative of being anxious and thinking into the future. So I really try in times of crisis, to just stay in the moment, take it day by day. If you have to, take it hour by hour. I mean, whatever you need to do to reduce your anxiety, within reason, of course, do it.
So on that segue, Bella has a follow-up question.
Okay.
Can you address anxiety and being careful to not over-medicate?
Ooh. What an interesting question. Okay. Well, let's get into it, let's get real. Let's get real today. Okay? So obviously self-medication is an issue in normal times, right? When an issue comes up in life that, is very difficult, which we all go through things. Breakups, divorces, death of a loved one, relationship anxiety, financial problems, children, problems with your kids, on and on and on. About 14 to 20% of people in the United States self-medicate. They use 14% roughly get addicted. Okay, so you have alcohol, drugs, and right now things that are going to calm you down are going to be alcohol, marijuana. If you happen to have anti-anxiety pills around the house, I would bet that a lot of people are popping those things. I'm sure pot smoking is up. I'm sure drinking is up, because that's what happens when people are stuck at home, because they get bored. So, you have to be careful, and you have to know your personality. I mean, am I against, having a couple glasses of wine if you don't have a problem with drinking? No. Couple drinks? No. I'm very much out and supportive of the use of medical marijuana. I think medical marijuana, it can be quite helpful for PTSD symptoms and anxiety if used responsibly. But the key word is use responsibly. So if you know that your personality is an extreme personality, if you know that you have an addictive type of personality, and we all know, even if we've never gone into drugs and alcohol before, this would be a time where we could very easily get hooked. I saw a guy the other night, I've told everybody this, mentioned it every day on these lives. I saw a guy the other night buy $1,500 worth of alcohol at the liquor store. I'm not kidding you, I was right behind him. And I didn't know, everybody in the store was kind of like, wow, I didn't know what to make of it. Now, could that have been some panic shopping? Yeah, but the panic was, okay, the liquor stores are closing. We don't know when they're going to be open again. So I better stock up. But in my mind, I was thinking, okay, and it was a couple. This couple probably has some wild domestic abuse fights, because drinking is probably the worst thing a couple who fights a lot can do together. And everyone knows that. All of the couples I work for, that is something that we always address. When I hear about their big fights, 99% of the time alcohol is involved. Because when you're sober, you know what's going on. You can think logically, and things don't get so out of hand. But alcohol is you really need to be careful with that as far as self-medicating. If you know you have pills in the closet, just remember, this is going to be over, and you're not going to be able to get any more. And, it's really bad to have to go through withdrawal at home when you can't go anywhere. And you can't get, it's just not a good idea. So I think of all the things people are probably using to self-medicate, medical marijuana is probably the safest bet. it works for some people. Some people, it actually makes them anxious. And if medical marijuana is something that you're interested in, I can certainly consult with, anybody who really has a true anxiety disorder or PTSD, and I can help them, learn how to get that and decide whether or not that's the best, decision for you. But I'm sure that addiction rates are going to go up during this time. I am also sure there's going to be a lot of babies born in the next 9 months because, people are home a lot more. They're probably having a lot more sex than usual, which, could be very good for relationships, actually. And, although the kids are home, so it makes it a little more difficult, but I bet there's going to be a whole lot of babies born 9 months from now, which would be, let's see, we're March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. There's going to be we're going to have a lot of holiday babies coming up this year, I think, for sure. But that's a good question. I mean, Zach, you're in the, sorry to put you on the spot again, but you're here and, you're smart, and I like to hear what you have to say. Millennials have been tagged as the group that could infect us all because you guys don't want to stay home. You want to go out with your friends and party. And there's this big spring break thing going on in the state of Florida where the governor's saying, the party's over. There's no spring break partying. What are you and your friends doing? Because you're 24. Happy birthday. By the way, it was your birthday the other day. What are you and your friends doing?
Well, hopefully people can hear me over here. I don't know. Things are kind of moving very quickly with us. We have a weekly game night that last Sunday we still did, but only 3 of us showed up.
Okay.
And then, this week I'm not even sure how that's going to go down. We had at least one in our group let us know that he was self-quarantining because he had been coming back from international travel. And,
okay.
Yeah. So I think even at that level, we're really trying to, at least in our group, trying to play it safe. But that doesn't speak for everybody. I think most of us aren't necessarily scared to go out, at least for ourselves. And those of us who are around people who are more vulnerable are probably the ones who are more scared.
I see. So, being around grandparents or if your parents sick or something like that,
Yeah.
So that's nice. So you guys are being mindful because you guys are getting a bad rap in the media right now.
Yeah.
I'm hearing all about millennials. And it's very hard to keep you guys home. I mean, again, my personal, the way that I'm dealing, in this time is I'm obviously not quarantined at home. But I do, I'm trying to keep it a little calmer than usual. I'm not, obviously I can't go out to bars and restaurants, and I'm only going around a few people that I know are really responsible people. And, and I'm a big cleaner, so I clean and take care, but I am open for business, and, people want to come in, then they can, but they have to be really responsible about it. Got another question?
More so just a comment.
Okay.
Someone just said, my family has been using FaceTime in order to connect with each other, even though we can't be together. We can at least be together with FaceTime. That's
right. I mean, now, I am known to not necessarily speak against social media, but kind of talk about how, because relationships are really my expertise, and this whole coronavirus is, again, this is something I'm just jumping on in the moment because I feel like people need some therapeutic relief, but and I think that our relationships are affected by this, and our families and everything. But I think that, this is a time when technology could save the day, because I keep thinking about my friend in New York City, who's by herself in a tiny little apartment. I mean, New York is shut down. I mean, they are, I think, just about on self-quarantine. And, what else can she do? But, there are things you can do, but not a whole heck of a lot. So, I mean, yeah, I think FaceTiming is great to keep in contact with everybody. And, even this kind of thing, interacting, on Facebook, YouTube, just keeping ourselves busy and, and staying connected. I think that's the really important piece is, how do I stay connected to my loved ones, connected to my relationships, even when I'm not allowed to really physically be around people. That's really scary. Something I was wondering about, I don't know if any of you guys have thought about this, but I have thought, what if one of your children gets it, or your spouse or significant other gets it, and you can't really see or be around them? How awful that would be. I've heard of a couple situations where college kids, some of them have come in from overseas, they've been confirmed with the coronavirus, and then they're secluded from their families, and they have to quarantine themselves to a room in the house, and that must be just really difficult, really, really difficult. I feel for those people. So I think staying connected however you can, and social media and the internet is a great way to do that. Do it to extreme, so you feel like you're still in this world and you don't isolate, because again, isolation leads to depression. It leads to lots more anxiety, hopelessness. And this is an easy time to be hopeless because nobody really knows when this is going to be over. So think about it. If you're a business owner and you're down to doing 30% of your normal business, which I would project is probably what's happening, that's a hopeless feeling. To think that, this could continue for months and months, that's a really hopeless feeling. And, I could really connect to people going through that. I think that it's scary, and that, don't be afraid to reach out for help. I am here. I am available to you. I'm available to you through phone, and you can call me and we can talk, and, we can do a session on the phone, and nobody has to go anywhere. But reach out for help. I think it's really, really important to reach out for help. Anything else going on for questions on the screen?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
We have done about 30 minutes so far.
Have we? Okay. So, I'm trying to think. Zach, do you have any questions for me, or any last thoughts that you want to say before we wrap it up?
Let's think here. I think we covered a lot of good, topics about how people at home can kind of look at this and how to adapt.
Right. Because adapting is the key word, making this kind of like the new normal. And I do think, I got a call this morning from a friend of mine, and he said, aside from this being kind of, worried about my kids and worried about what's happening, I'm getting all this work done I haven't gotten done in a long time. I'm spending time with my children, and, I'm trying to really actually enjoy the time off. And I think, some people, that's a really positive way of looking at it. And I think that for some people it can be that. I think for others, where they're really in a financial bind, it might be hard to see it that way. But I think that our government, our utility companies, our mortgage companies, our property managers are going to be really understanding and let us be a little bit late this year. Income taxes are postponed. You don't have to pay, I think, until June. But if you want money back, you can go ahead and file. So I think that, I think all that's good. Now, I have one exciting thing, Zach, we forgot to tell everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Free parking in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We saw that the parking authority is shut down. So, hey,
Do with that
just do it. If you need to get out to Shady Side or Forbes Street, I don't know how much is open. If you want to get a Minio's Pizza, or you want to get, I don't know what's open. Takeout. It's all takeout. But if you want to get some good takeout, you can park for free in places that are normally very hard to park, and you don't have to pay for it. So there's a positive, right? So free parking, everybody, in the city of Pittsburgh. If
they put that back on, we're not responsible.
That's right. If they change it, you can't come back at us, because we heard that on, I believe it was KDKA.
Yeah, we did it in our pre-production research.
Yeah, that was on KDKA. So, but All right, everyone. So thank you so much for watching. Again, don't be shy. Reach out to me. I'm going to post this on YouTube. It's going to be on Facebook, so you can watch, you can rewatch. I have lives every day this week, so if you have nothing else to do, you can also go to my YouTube channel and you can watch lots of videos about relationships and personality disorders and anxiety, and the information on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, and some stuff's also on Instagram is, it's just, there's so much information, and it might be, something fun to kind of get into, relationships and psychology might be something kind of fun, if you have nothing else to do, of course. But I think my videos are pretty entertaining, but of course that's me. I'll let you be the judge. So thank you, everybody. I have really exciting news. Tomorrow at 1, what did we say, 1 o'clock or 1:30? I can't remember. I think 1 o'clock. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We are having a special guest. He's been on my show before last year. Everybody loved him. His name is David Doc Shirey. David Doc Shirey will be here. We're going to be socially distanced. However, I don't know, we're going to figure that out. But he will be here as a guest on Friday. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're going live. He is an author of a book called Rare Confidence. And he's a long, lifetime, dear friend of mine. And I'm really excited to have him on the show tomorrow. And we're going to talk politics. We're going to talk coronavirus. We're going to talk, home life, family issues, a full hour with Doc Shirey tomorrow, guys. So you don't want to miss it. So tune in tomorrow to Actuation Counseling's Facebook page at 1 p.m. sharp to hear the interviews and conversations with me and Doc Shirey. All right, guys, be well, be safe, be healthy. Thank you for watching.
So I hit finish?
Hit save.
I'm not sure I see save here.
Finish.
You want to come check it out?
Yeah.